I then spoke to Khalid Mahmood. He's the MP for Birmingham Perry Bar and the very first Muslim to be elected in England. He spoke to me about his Muslim faith. How did you come to your faith? Was it something that was always there because of your family, or is it something you made a conscious decision about?
I think it's all there because of my family, in the first instance. But I made a real conscious decision about understanding the principle of my faith.
Yes.
We can practice faith, but I think unless you understand the actual principles of what it's about, and that I think for me is the key. The key about doing the right thing in humanity, not being overly vindictive towards people, and doing the best you can in your life. And that helped me because of the 15 months of selection process that I had, which was very difficult. I had a huge hostile press against me for some reason. I don't quite know why. But what I did was every night, and I finished, I would go home and say a short prayer and then go to bed. And I fell asleep every time I went back because I had a clear conscience. My job was to do the best I can to make sure I got elected. And it was God's job to whether he wanted to reward me with that or not.
So faith played an important part in your resilience then to help you to get through those difficult months, and then you were rewarded by becoming the Member of Parliament back in 2001. So you've been there a long time. Have you any recollections of times in politics, in Parliament, where your faith has come into conflict with politics?
I don't think my faith has come into conflict at all. I am strong believer of principles of my faith, and I try to adhere by them because it allows you, my faith is not a rigid thing. It allows you flexibility. As long as you're true to your principle and sentiment, there are no real objections in terms of faith. So I think when we start to put these divides up, sometimes there are our own divides or perhaps some sectarian divides within our religion that cause those sort of things. But our religion, Islam, is a very peaceful religion. It allows you to sort of do what you think is good, as long as I said you're not vindictive or nasty towards people. That is what the religion is about.
And you said back in 2021, I want Islam recognised as a positive religion. And have you worked hard at that over the years to try and say, look, some people may not understand my religion, but it's something for the good?
I have. I've tried over again. One of the slight conflicts I have in Parliament is with the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Islamophobia. Which you'd find a contradiction with. But I believe that some of the things they're looking at are very negative in relation to the religion rather than the positives that there are in religion. You know, we have huge heritage in Islam of learning, of medicine, of arithmetic, of architecture, huge heritage of all that. And why should we try and narrow that down to something that we're not? And that's what Islam is, to me, is about. So in terms of trying to do something in Parliament, if you want a particular issue to be dealt with, rather than Islamophobia, I would simply say Muslim hatred.
Yes.
And legislate for that. But not have these things which actually have no conclusion to them, but really rile people in the wrong sense. And when some people trying to put that together to push young people away from the mainstream community, that is my objection in Islam.
Yeah. So you would much rather have a positive group of people coming together to understand what Islam is about, rather than being negative in terms of what people are against. And I think that's very interesting because sometimes people of faith like ourselves are defined by the extremes of their religion. And you've spoken about that in Parliament, haven't you?
I've from the day one, because as part of my job as a Muslim Labour MP, and when I first got on, people were saying, a Muslim MP. I said, I'm a Labour MP who's proud to be Muslim. And that's what I've always taken, because my party's there and my religion's there as well. So the two have to be together in order to do what I'm doing. But the key thing about that is reflecting the positive of integration of religion, and particularly about the three great religions, the Abrahamic faiths that exist. There shouldn't be tension amongst us in terms of religion. There may be in terms of politics. There may be political disagreements that we have. But in terms of our religion, we're so bound together that there is no divide in terms of that. So what we've got to look at, if there are political issues, let's deal with those, but not call people kuffar because they're either Christians or Jewish or different heritages within different sectarian groups within Islam. Let's not do that. Let's be positive about it. Let's share, because we have a huge heritage that
Shared
we can
history.
share history amongst all of it. I mean, it started off, our religion starts off with Judaism and carries on through Christianity right across to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So it encompasses all that. So why are we looking for divides when there's so much to unite us?
And you've spoken about integration, and you feel sometimes that government policies don't allow integration to happen. Isn't that the case?
Yes, and I think what we've got to do when those sort of things happen is not isolate communities. And you can do that different ways. You can do that by different types of funding for different communities. And that segregates. And what that enables people at the ground who want to do that, to build empires in their own little backyard, essentially, is to get more money and grow vertically. What I want us to do in communities is to grow laterally, to encompass all the people together and live as communities together. There's so much we can share amongst all of us, which is good. I have a huge Sikh contingency in my constituency. I get on very well with them. We have a great to share. I go to the Gurdwaras. We speak about issues that are important. And people always say, well, religion's no good because it creates division. Religion doesn't create divisions.
Correct.
It's us who create divisions.
Yeah, no, that is correct. And during your time in Parliament, and you've been there for 22 years now, have you seen the attitude change in relation to religion and politics? Or has it, I mean, you came in as the first Muslim MP in England. You must have seen things change over that period of time.
Well, I came in just before 9/11 happened.
Oh, goodness, right.
And so that was a huge shock. And I had to stand up for my first speech, essentially, in Parliament, and say that this is not of Islam. Islam is a peaceful religion. These people who do this for their own ends don't reflect the religion of Islam. And I think I've always stood by that. When different groups have come in, as I've said, in terms of Islamophobia and some of the people behind that, where they're trying, particularly some of the organizations, where they're trying to segregate people off to Islam and Judaism, Christianity, and then obviously Sikhism and all the other religions that are different. Everybody has a choice in religion. It's your faith. That's special to you. And you should keep that, but let other people live.
Back in Tony Blair's time, Alistair Campbell said, we don't do God.
Yeah.
And that caused, for a long time, people didn't talk about faith in politics. I think that's slightly changing now. And it's a good thing that people feel free to say who they are. And we've seen the Prime Minister go to pray in terms of his Hindu religion. And other people like Tim Farron and Kate Forbes have suffered because of declaring their religion. Do you think in the future that religion, of whatever faith, has a role to play in British politics?
I think religion always has a role to play because it's what you are.
Yeah.
Whatever religion you are, it's what you are. And if you're not faithful to the one thing that you hold dear, how can you be faithful to anything else? That's the real connection we've got to ask ourselves. So you can't shove aside religion. Tony Blair and Alistair, who said we don't do God, Blair did.
Yes, that's the point.
Blair totally did.
Yes.
And so therefore saying that is not really exactly correct. But of course we have to remain, if we remain true to who we are in our religion, in our thoughts, then we must be true to our people as well when we're elected.
Yeah, yeah. Khalid Mahmood, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Thank you.